Good morning. It's nice and early out. It's not even light yet, but it's par for the course as far north. Until about 7:30 or so, 8 o'clock. So today I'm starting onion seeds and asparagus seeds. I like to start these ones indoors. I'm going to be starting a lot of other seeds today too, but those are going to be for winter sowing containers. And they're mainly perennials that need a bit of cold, damp stratification to germinate best. And those are the kind of seeds you want to start in that situation. Things that like heat or a little more warmth, or that don't need that cold stratification, or you just want to have a little more control of the timing on when these things germinate. Those are the ones that you want to start inside or in a greenhouse. I have very limited space here in this camper, but I managed to squeeze in a tiny spot on my countertop, which isn't very big, but it is what it is, for a small square seed starter tray. Where there's a will, there's a way. And once I get the greenhouses fixed up and to where I can start seeds with heat out there, then I can do that. But this year, I'm going to be starting a limited amount of seeds indoors. And so here we have asparagus UC157F2 hybrid. And there are some asparagus seeds out there that are so expensive that are new hybrids, and they're not F2s, they're F1s. I saw one packet of seed yesterday in a new seed catalog I arrived that was $20 for a packet of seeds. Probably about 20 seeds, not even 100 seeds, nothing like that. $20. And so the price of seeds kind of getting ridiculous. I know hybrids tend to cost more because they take more time and planning to produce those seeds. So in that case, getting non-hybrid seeds, if cost is a big deal for you, would be better. But these weren't too bad, considering that they are a hybrid. It took many, 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 many years to develop these through traditional breeding. They're not GMOs. No matter what people like to... There are some people that like to muddy the waters and confuse people about what GMOs and hybrids are. So don't let that fool you, okay? These are not GMO. They're just traditionally bred. That could naturally occur on its own. There's no starfish genes or spider genes or anything like that in a naturally bred plant. That's not to say there aren't ever mutations, but mutations in plants are never going to be genes from a jellyfish into a petunia naturally. That just wouldn't happen. It would be more like, hey, there's a streak of color in this flower and the bees like it more. So that flower gets pollinated more, and boom, the next generation has more striped flowers. Just from nature's selections. Okay, and so I'm going to be starting the onions inside as well. Mainly because the timing is really specific on these guys. And I'm starting these I could start these outdoors, but you're not likely going to get as good of a germination rate. Different things, will go after the seeds and things like that. And these, again, they're more of an expensive seed, not nearly as expensive as the ones I saw in the catalog yesterday, but still they're more expensive, pricier as seeds go. So I don't really want to waste them by experimenting and putting them in the garden. I want to make sure that I get a decent amount to germinate. Oh, and I chose this particular one because this one actually spreads by root rather than seed. So once you have these going and you got a nice plant, and you particularly like the traits of that plant, you don't have to save the seed and replant the seeds off that plant and hope you'll get something similar to the parent that you like. These you will actually spread by root, which I've never seen in an asparagus before, which is really cool. So you can clone an exact copy of that particular plant. A lot like, say you plant a potato. I happen to have one over here for no reason at all, where it's a complete copy of the parent plant. When you plant the potato root, you get the same thing that it came from. I thought that was really neat, and I said, hey, that's a great way to expand my asparagus bed without as much hassle starting seeds or buying roots and things like that. Okay, I'm going to be starting a bunch of onions today. Not for me. Like, I'll tell you right away, do not eat onions. They're nasty. They make me feel sick. If I eat them, like, I'll be in the porta-john for hours if I eat onions. And I just, no. But I can grow them, and I've won prizes at the county fair, and I have no problem growing them, and I grow them for other people because they're kind of fun to grow. You know, it's fun to see, hey, I got a monster-sized onion here. But you'll never catch me eating them. Not willingly, anyways. Okay, so I'm starting out with, these are mostly ones I grew last year, and these are leftover seed. I wouldn't save seed of onions over 2 years. The germination rate just plummets after 2 years. It goes down a little bit the second year. It just plummets after that. Onion seeds, they look like they're tough little seeds, but the skins on the seeds are actually really fragile on onion seeds. You can't tell by looking at them. But they got little sharp edges on them. I don't know if it'll zoom in. Maybe not. Sorry about the weird lighting in here. It's a trailer, a camper. It is what it is. Do the best I can for now. Anyways, they have sharp little edges, but their skins are quite delicate, so they rub against each other, and they will make little cuts in their skins, which makes them dehydrate, which kills a little endosperm. So the little baby plant in there, and so they lose the ability to germinate and to live after. Some people, if you save your own seeds from the garden, if you try to keep them in the flower head, the dry flower head, when you store them, they'll last a little bit longer because they're not rubbing against each other. But generally, they lose the ability to sprout, to live. So I wouldn't keep them more than 2-3 years max, but you have to plant them a lot thicker. I plant them thick anyways when I plant them because they're perfectly happy growing like that. And when you plant them, you just take them apart very carefully, untangle the roots. And the reason why I'm starting these so early is timing is everything with onions. And specific onions are better for specific day length areas of the country. Up here, you want a long day onion. You can get away with a intermediate day length onion. Down in the south, you want short length onions, because you tend to grow them in the cooler season. Up here, the length of daylight is what causes them to grow bigger bulbs. how much nitrogen they have and get into their leaves. The more leaves you have, the bigger bulbs you're going to get as well. So you want them in the ground as soon as you are able to work the ground. As soon as it's not frozen solid. And they could take a little bit of frost, freeze, maybe not so much, but a frost. They could take a little bit of that and be fine. Here are the onions. If you leave them in the ground, they tend to overwinter. Just fine. But you want to start these and get them in the ground. Definitely before March. You want to have them in the ground before March. At least that's how I do it. And I get some big ones. Of course, the big ones are specific varieties too. These won't get gigantic. These are more of a medium-sized red onion. And these are more of a intermediate. They're not really do as great up here, but they're still good. Red of Florence, and these take a very long season. I experimented with these last year. I didn't get to see how they turned out because I had to move. So I'm going to use the rest of these up and see how they do. Walla Wallas do really well up here. They get pretty big. Of course, they're from Walla Walla, Washington, so that makes sense. And these are seeds my neighbor gave me from his garden. He wanted me to plant them. I had some of my own, so I'll probably grow a lot of these. This is a fresher packet, so I might wait for next year and just grow these ones, which were packaged for last year. So these ones definitely need to be used up. Here's this is a salad onion. It's supposed to be really sweet. Not that I would know. I'm not going to try it. So it just looked like an interesting variety. I was experimenting with ones that might do well in my little market garden last year, but of course I moved, so I could never see how they turned out. So I'm going to see that this year and see if they do any better. And then you have chives, which I may or may not plant right now. This isn't really necessary when I plant these. Let's see, it depends on if I have room in my little seed starter tray. These I could start in a winter sowing container if I wanted to. They're very hardy. I know when I lived in Indiana, they would go to seed and sprout up everywhere like weeds. Every little crack, every little ground, these seeds would just grow. And it didn't matter if it was minus 20 in the winter, they were hardy. You couldn't stop them. They were going to go crazy like a weed. So starting these in a winter sowing container is not going to harm them at all. If that's what you want to do, I might go ahead and do that. And surprisingly, I like the taste of garlic chives, not onion chives, not the regular chives. These ones, I like the taste a lot better. And so this is what I grow.